Consecutive integers. So these are problems that talk about consecutive integers. Well, what are consecutive integers? Well, they're ones that come right after each other, like 10, 11, 12. Those are three consecutive integers. So it goes 10, then 11, then 12, right? But you could also have them be like -5, -4, -3. Those are three consecutive integers as well. Okay, so how do we set up, when we have a problem that's talking about consecutive integers, how do we set that up? Your first integer is going to be x. Your second integer is going to be one more, so x plus 1. Your third integer is going to be x plus 2. And your fourth integer is going to be x plus 3. And on it goes. How many integers are you going to have? Depends on the problem. So they'll have to tell you how many integers, and then you set your integers up that way. Okay, so there's an example. It says find three consecutive integers whose sum is -96. So we want three consecutive integers. The first one's going to be x. The second one is going to be x plus 1. The third one is going to be x plus 2. Now, what the rest of the problem says, it says find these integers. Their sum is -96. So we want to take the first integer plus the second integer plus the third integer, and that's all going to equal -96. So there's the equation. And sometimes people are tricky and they find other ways to do this problem, but I recommend following the way we do this so you'll learn the procedure for setting up consecutive integers. Okay, the parentheses really aren't necessary. They just kind of say, hey, here's the first one, the second one, and the third one. So I'm going to remove the parentheses. And then I'm going to combine my like terms. So x, 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 that's 3x. 1 and 2 make 3. That's still true. And equals -96. Okay, so we're back to that standard form for a linear equation. Subtract 3 from both sides. 3x equals -99. And then a little bit more. Oh, run out of room. Divide by 3. And so we get x equals -33. Now, does that have to come out to be an integer? Could I have gotten like -33.5 or a third or something like that? No, I can't have that decimal or fraction portion because it says these are going to be integers, so it's got to be an integer. So my first integer is -33. But what's the next one? What's x plus 1? Well, it's -33 plus 1, which is going to be -32. And then the next one's going to be -31. So I kind of ran out of room, but where can I write this? The integers are -33, -32, and -31. And you could add those up real quick and see if it adds to be -96, but it does. Okay, so on we go. We're going to talk now about consecutive even integers. Well, consecutive even integers would be something like 8, 10, 12, so just the even numbers. So when we set these up, the first one's going to be x, but the next one's going to be x plus 2, because you got to skip to the next even integer. And the next one would be x plus 4, and on it would go. Depends on how many they tell you you have. Okay, so that's how you set up consecutive even integers. Now, here's the tricky part. And it's not really tricky, but sometimes it's hard to wrap your mind around. How do you set up consecutive odd integers? Well, we're talking about something like 9, 11, 13. Okay, so the first one is still going to be x, but the second one is going to be 2 more, because you got to go to the next odd number. So it's going to be x plus 2. And then the next one's going to be x plus 4. and so on. So you set up the consecutive odd integers the same way you set up the even integers. And a lot of times that doesn't make sense to students, but think of like a game board, and you have these marks, and this is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. If you start at an even one and you skip 2, you get to another even one, and you skip 2, you get to another even one. But if you start at an odd one and you go 2, you stay on the odds. So that's why they're set up the same way. It's all a matter of what you started with. Did you start with an even one, or did you start with an odd one? Okay, so that's how you set them up. So here's an example. Find 3 consecutive even integers whose sum is 102. So the first integer is going to be x. Second integer is going to be x plus 2. Third integer, we have 3 of them. Third one is x plus 4. Okay, and their sum, so we're going to add them up. X plus 2 plus x plus 4 equals 102. So it's kind of similar, but they're not just consecutive integers, they're consecutive even integers. Okay, we don't need the parentheses, so x plus 2 plus x plus 4 equals 102. So if I add all the x's, I get 3x plus, and 2 plus 4 is 6, equals 102. Subtract the 6 from both sides. So I get 3x equals 96. Okay, divide both sides by 3. And I get x equals 32. Okay, so the first integer is 32. And again, it has to come out to be an integer or I'm in trouble. So the integers are, you could say the even integers are, and by the way, 32 is even, so that's good. 32, the next one's going to be 34, and the next one's going to be 36. Now, if you're confused on how you get 32, 34, and 36, well, 32 is the one we solved, and then you're going to take 32 plus 2, and then you're going to take 32 plus 4, and that's how you get the 34 and the 36. Sometimes people have questions on that. That looks like we're trying another problem. Okay, well, I guess that's it.